if you're not from the UK, you might not be able to relate to this, but we're obsessed with the weather in the UK. I think it's one of those things that, like, a stereotypical Brit talks about the weather a lot. And that's simply because we have 4 seasons in one day. And yesterday when I recorded a video, you may have seen, it was a beautiful sunny day, sun was shining, birds were singing, and 24 hours later it is absolutely miserable and we have torrential downpours. So it's not really surprising that we're obsessed with the weather here in the UK. But let me know what the weather's like in your country anyway. So I wanted to talk today about the power of consistency, because I think it's the one trait, let's call it a trait, it's the one trait that someone can have that is probably the biggest indicator of success. And when I say success, I mean success in any field. So whether you're a student that's, studying for your PhD, or you're a bodybuilder trying to get to a certain weight, or you're a businessman trying to build a business, whatever it is, there will be a set of steps that have to be repeated again and again and again and again and again until you start to see some success. And I think the biggest indicator of success is someone's ability to cope with the level of boredom that comes with that. Because I think we really need to start on, if having success in an area is not actually difficult, it's not a hard thing to do, but it is boring. If we start with that, then we need to learn why we struggle with boredom so much. And I think that's a byproduct of the era we live in, because everything is instant. I'm going to sound old now, but back when I was a kid, if you wanted to watch a film, you would have to walk or drive or get on your bike and go to a Blockbuster's, which was a video rental store, and you would walk down the aisles and you would pick a film out and actually physically see the boxes and take that box to the counter, and the woman behind the counter would get the disc and put it in the box and you would take it, and when you'd finish watching it you had to take it back. And even before that you had VHS, you had videos. And because there was an amount of effort that went into getting something, I think you appreciated it more. But obviously, being humans, we always want to take the easiest path. And so why the hell would you traipse all the way to Blockbusters, come out in weather like this, get in your car and drive 15 miles to the nearest Blockbusters to then pick a film out, when you can literally stay in your pajamas, sit on your couch and open up Netflix? And it's obvious, like, why would you want to take the more difficult route? And it seems like some of the biggest businesses at the moment are selling convenience. They're making things, or taking things that used to be a long, difficult, drawn-out process, and simplifying them and making them instant. Look at Amazon, for instance. Again, when I was younger, if you wanted to order something, you had to order it from a catalogue, and it would take a week, 2 weeks to arrive. Or you went to the shop and you bought it. Whereas now you go on Amazon Prime, people get pissed off when their parcel doesn't arrive the next day. And so you've got Netflix, you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Uber. You know, before you would have to call a taxi office, and then the woman behind the reception would organise for a taxi to come to you, and you'd have to wait half an hour. Now you literally just push a button on your phone and there's a taxi there waiting for you, normally within 5 or 10 minutes. And so everything is designed for convenience and instant satisfaction. And all of the things that these businesses provide are not any definition of success. So when we look at success in any particular area, we realise that it's almost the complete opposite of that. And if someone could design some kind of business, build a business that gave you instantaneous success in an area, then they would be the world's first trillionaire. I guarantee it. But that's not the way that the universe works. The universe works in a way that it rewards you for hard work. At least that's my belief anyway. And things that are difficult to get, i.e. success, i.e. having a successful business or a six-pack or a really great relationship with your wife or your husband or your spouse, your partner, all of these things are difficult to get, and that makes them coveted. It makes people want them. And getting them isn't necessarily difficult, as we said earlier, it's just time consuming. And because we have all this convenience around us, this instantaneous results, we think to ourselves, well, why should I have to work so hard for something when everything else is convenient for me? And I guess that is why success is so rare, because a vast majority of people are not going to put in the time and effort that it takes to create that level of success. And the biggest indicator of, you look at anyone that's got success, I mean, whether that's someone really uber successful that's famous, so you look at Elon Musk or Warren Buffett or I don't know, any super ripped bodybuilder, you look at their stories, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you look at all their stories, and they didn't just have instantaneous results. This was the result of doing one or two things consistently for years and years and years. And most people just don't want to do that, which is understandable. And so consistency for me, at least the way I see it, is the biggest indicator of success in an area. Consistency and the ability to put up with boredom. And that is something that I've really struggled with in the past. In fact, pretty much in every area of my life. I've never had massive academic success because that never worked for me. And I, again, struggled to be consistent with going to school or studying. And same with a career. Like, I tend to, the minute I get bored of something, or I feel like I've learned the process, I'll get bored and want to move on. And I've run businesses in the past, and I've got mixed up in all this initial excitement that came with building that business or doing that new thing, because everything's novel, it's new, it's stimulating, and it's engaging. But the minute you can put most of those processes into your subconscious and do them unconsciously, it's much more difficult to enjoy that process. And because you don't have those hits of dopamine, and because we are surrounded by so many other things that are there to give us instant dopamine, it is so difficult to fight against those things and to do the boring thing. And that's really what I want to start working on, is picking something and just doing it every single day, regardless of how I feel, regardless of the distractions that are around me. It just becomes a thing that I do. And actually, I think back to the only time I have really been consistent was when I used to go to the gym, and this was pre-COVID. So I think I probably started in 2018 and then stopped before I went on my travels to India in 2019, end of 2019 I think it was, just before COVID happened. And it's funny because I went to the gym every single day because it gave me something to do. Not necessarily because I wanted to get ripped, but because that consistency made me feel good, and the exercise and the endorphins that came with that made me feel good. But looking back on pictures of myself back then, my body looked pretty damn good for someone that only trained 3 days a week. and paid no particular attention to their diet. But at the time, I remember looking in the mirror thinking, like, my body hasn't changed. I've been doing this for nearly 2 years and nothing's really changed with me. But now looking back at it in hindsight, 3 years after, when I've taken a sedentary job, sat in an office, I sit around on my arse a lot more than I used to. I don't go to the gym as much as I used to. And when I look at myself in the mirror now compared to how I looked back then, it's so much different. And I think it's really difficult when you are doing things every day consistently to know that you're making progress, because the changes are so tiny and they're so gradual that it's really hard to know if you are making progress. And so I think the thing that I want to work on and apply this level of consistency to is this channel, is to YouTube. It's my commitment to you. And the reason I like YouTube is because there are analytics. I have direct feedback. So if I ever feel like I'm not making progress, I can go through the numbers. I can go back to, let's just say I posted a video every single day for the next year. And at the end of that year, I've got a few more subscribers, but I'm thinking I've just done 365 videos every single day, all the work that's come along with that, and I don't feel like I've made any progress. Well, the great thing is that you can go back in your analytics and I can say, oh shit, actually, this time last year I had 50% less subscribers. You know, I had less people watching my content for less time, and now I have this. And so there's a great incentive there because you have those analytics available to you. And it makes me wonder, if you're thinking, well, I don't want to start a YouTube channel, but I want to apply this consistency. What you're saying, Jay, makes sense, and I want to apply this consistency to an area of my own life. Well, let's just take the gym, for instance. It's really important to know where you're starting. So if you want to be consistent going to the gym, just say you want to go to the gym 3 days a week, or you want to go 7 days a week. It doesn't really matter. It's just being consistent. Take all your measurements, before you start on this journey. So measure everything. Measure your shoulders, measure your chest, measure your waist, measure your thighs, your calves, every area of your body. Take your weight, take your body fat percentage if you can do that. Get as many metrics, as many measurable things as you can, and then start on this process. And forget about those results for a while, but just focus on being consistent. Stop measuring yourself every single day to see if you've made progress, because like I say, the changes are going to be so small that you're not really going to notice them in the beginning. But I guarantee you, within 3 months, if you take those measurements again, you will see an improvement. And you may look in the mirror and feel like you haven't made any consistent changes whatsoever, but I guarantee if you had 2 side-by-side pictures, as well as all these analytics, these figures about how much you weighed and how big your biceps were at that time, I think you'd be pretty shocked. And you could apply this to any area of your life. Talk about finances. If you want to save more money, well, set up a savings account, because it starts at 0, and just save I don't know, £10 a week or $10 a week, and see where it gets you. Because consistency, I feel, is the biggest lever that we can pull for success in any area of our lives. So that's what I want to do. I want to be more consistent with this channel. I want to be more purposeful with this channel. The other thing is I kind of have just been making videos as and when I can, rather than carving out the time to actually make the videos. Whereas I'm going to switch, I think, to this more everyday vlog style content and just do it consistently and see what happens. Not expect necessarily any results, but just focus on the process. Let me know in the comments what you're going to commit to, what you're going to be consistent with. Let me know if there's been a time in your life or an area of your life in which you have achieved a lot of success through consistency. share your story, because as always, these things really help not just me, but everyone else that's watching this video that reads through the comments. And once again, thanks for watching.